Several items on the, for the hearing, which is Ordinance 542, which is the ordinance to levy taxes for the fiscal year '23, Ordinance 543, which is the ordinance to adopt the annual budget, and then discussion and approval of Resolution 2022-03, which is a resolution maintaining the water rates at the same levels as last year. So there's the items on for the public hearing, but I normally use this time to go through my town budget notes. So I usually don't talk for 5 or 10 minutes straight, but and it's all about numbers. So to anybody who's suffering from insomnia, this should help. Basically, we have several goals when we look at the budget, and retaining our small town charm by keeping Hampstead safe, affordable, and a great place to raise a family and live is a priority. Every decision is based on the long-term best interest of our town, and that's been the case since Wayne and I have sat up here, and everybody here has adopted it for as long as I've been around. And it's not thinking next year or 3 years or 5 years, but thinking 20 years out, and that's served us very well. And then fiscal sustainability and resiliency. We want to minimize the impact from potential state and county government budget cuts, which are basically inevitable when there's a downturn in the economy. And then, but this topic also covers unfunded mandates and new regulatory requirements, as Kevin, the head of our Public Works Department, could tell you anytime, and now the chief as well. There's numerous unfunded mandates, and the new regulatory requirements just keep on coming. You just never know what you're going to get hit with. Basically, the overall view of our current economic environment, we've emerged from the effects of COVID lockdown, and we fared very well. For the last 2 years, I said we were in a period of uncertainty, the likes of which no one has seen before. This statement still applies. Economists cannot predict 1 month out, yet alone 1 year. Who predicted that the first quarter was going to have a shrinking GDP? I don't think there was anybody after we had, 6% growth as you went through last year. And everybody's waiting to see what the second quarter looks like, and the estimates vary widely. Last year I was hopeful we were at the start of a long recovery, but indicated there were a couple of troubling signs within it. Inflation was one, and businesses, including us, having a difficult time finding good people to fill open positions was the other I specifically mentioned. Unfortunately, through the careless administrative actions on a couple of different levels of government, inflation is here, and it's a persistent problem, and at levels we've not seen since the 70s. And the potential employee pool is still limited, and now we can add supply chain issues that still not have been corrected, which are driving prices through the roof as well. Our priorities are always safety. Our police department today is trained to today's standards and will deal with today's issues. We currently have 9 sworn officers, and you'll hear the chief every time he stands up here. It's about the training the officers have had in the past month, and it's always pretty significant. We basically have 1 officer who's still in training, which will get us to 10, and we have our police dispatcher as well. Our water system is safe and currently in compliance with the ever-increasing regulations, though they are becoming a burden, as I mentioned before. Measurements in parts per trillion, the latest and greatest thing. Just because you can measure at that level doesn't mean you should. Our Public Works Department has 7 people, and all of them are certified level 3 water operators. We had one recently leave for a better opportunity. That's the sign of the economy today. And we, as you'll hear later, we have a new hire coming in to replace that person to get us back to our complement of 8. Our TAN staff of 5. And over the last year, I guess I want to say, we've had 2 new people join us because other people left to pursue other opportunities. And I've been very pleased to see how those 2 folks have blended in seamlessly, and they're a very professional and helpful team all around. Our other priorities are always business retention and development, which I'm very proud of the way we handled COVID and all the resources that we provided to businesses so that they could survive these difficult times. And of course, Main Street, now that it's what it is, and it's such an attraction, we've come a long way, but we want to continue to make sure the improvements there further make it an attraction and just the jewel that it is to our town. In the budget specifics, the property taxes this year, we're budgeting at $1,475,000, which is 2.9% above year-to-date for where are we, in 22. The rate at 22 cents is no change. Last increase was in 16 by a penny, and before that it was 02. So our tax rate is maintained at a fairly consistent level at the 22 cents. By comparison, Manchester's just below us at 21.6, Sykesville's at 33, Tawnytown 37, and Westminster 56. So you hopefully you can see that we're spending your money wisely. On the property tax side, that's driven by the value of homes. It's still a seller's market out there. Some of the froth with the rising interest rates may have come off the market where people aren't, there's not as many people bidding above the asking price anymore, but they're clearly getting to their ask. And I've yet to see a house that stays on the market for more than 2 weeks. Business personal property taxes. We budgeted $64,000, which is a 3.2% increase. The rate here is 55 cents. Manchester's at 46, Sykesville's at 87.5, Tawnytown 80, and Westminster $1.10. So you can see that our business personal property taxes at the lower end of the range. Amusement taxes are up this year again. They're at $54,000, up from $42, and consistent with actuals for the last looks like this year and the year before. Largely that's a result of Oakmont Green, and with the pandemic, everybody's rediscovered golf, and we're thereby getting the benefit of that local tax. Our local share of income taxes up 2.4% this year from last year's budget, and 1.9% in excess of what we think we projected to receive this year. Income taxes, that's that little checkbox you say where you live in Hampstead. It's not an extra tax on you, but we make sure that we get our share that the state shares with the county and then us. So it's important to keep checking that box, because that is at $1,046,000, you can see how that compares when you look at property taxes at 1.4. They're clearly our two biggest revenue generators. Other revenue that we continue to get, highway user funding. We had good news after we got cut. I've talked about it many times. We got cut by 90% back in the O'Malley years when they used the Transportation Trust Fund to basically cover the operating budget. Well, Governor Hogan passed legislation 3 years ago, and then again this year, which gives us certainty for the next 5 years. And next year we're going to have a budget of $266,000. That should move up for the next couple of years, but we seem to be set through fiscal year 28, and that's good for our roads. Program open space, you can see the benefit of that with the new concert pavilion going on downtown. That's budgeted at $469,000. We were, in addition to the program open space, we also got a community playgrounds grant. Mostly the reason for the increase there is because we couldn't spend it all this year, so we had to carry over from last year. And while you can see the progress that's there, it was delayed because of the supply chain issues. We didn't get our lumber. So, we'll hear when it's going to be finished, and we're hopeful that they stick to that date. Carroll County overlapping services, another revenue items, is $370,000, which is actually a decrease of 2.6% year over year. That's the basically overlapping services we provide that the county then doesn't have to provide, so you don't get taxed twice for the same service. Cable TV franchising fees, they basically have increased a little bit, but we're starting to see cord cutting is back after the real significant rise that we saw during COVID. So we'll see whether that trend continues moving forward, but people are clearly out and about and not just sitting in their living room streaming every cable show known to man. When you look at our total revenues in the budget from 23 to 22, this next year we're just under $4 million at $3.996 million versus $3,764,000, which is a 6.2% increase. But when you back out the one-time grants for public program open space grant funding, we're basically at a 2.5% increase year over year. On the expense side, the most significant expense we have is our 23 employees and the one open position, which is a total of 24, which is no change year to year. Employees this year are getting a 5% general increase, which is in line with other towns and counties, but due to the increases from the Carroll County Sheriff's Office and in order to keep current with the employment market and the state of the economy in general, we look at increases on a case-by-case basis, and we want to maintain key personnel. On the police department front, we're not training our police to work for another police agency. We've always said we're going to match the highest paying agency in Carroll County, and that we continue to do that. In Public Works, we had several things going on there, so some folks there got rewarded, I think, appropriately. Trash removal is one of the biggest expenses. It's $395,000, a little bit of uncertainty for that going forward because we're in year 5 of a 5-year contract, so we'll have to bid it out next year. Hughes is our current carrier. They've done a good job, and hopefully they continue. The other thing that I mention every year is stormwater management, NPDES, National Pollution Discharge Elimination System permit fees. They're basically EPA and state unfunded mandated costs, which if you go back to the beginning of 2011 through 2015, they ranged anywhere from 26 to 42,000, and then ever since that time, they're over $100,000 a year. So next year, they're projected to be 104,000, which is actually coming down from a high of 147,000 at one point in 2020. We're starting to catch up with all the different projects, but you know, these are water quality requirements that the state has put on everybody, and so we deal in the market in which we play. On the water side, I mentioned briefly that there's no increase in our water rates. I think our water rates are on par with many other Carroll County towns. This is the 4th year with no increase, after increasing rates at 8% for several years in order to catch our water system up. Our water system actually owed the general fund money, so we're trying to get rid of that payable and the receivable on the water funds side. Inflation is nipping at our heels in that regard in the water system a lot, with water operating chemicals, vehicle expenses, and everything else that goes into operating our systems. We're increasing the expenses on 11.1% annually, and we're already seeing the impact of that since, you know, as this whole fiscal year's unfolded. And we do have a solar array that's out there next to one of our pump houses on the north side of town between North Carroll Farms and Oakmont Green. And it should help us lower electricity costs, but it seems like it gets disconnected from the grid quite regularly. And so to date, it's overpromised and under-delivered, but hopefully we're back on the grid permanently and we'll start seeing more of a benefit there, hopefully at least reducing our electric costs by 30%. We do have a couple bonds that are out there. We have a paving bond that we issued in 2013 for $500,000 back when we weren't getting the money that we needed from the Highway User Fund. We're in year 10 of 15 of that bond. Streetlights, it's hard to believe, but we're already in year 4 of 15 of that bond, which was $650,000. And then our water line is going to be with us for a long time, and as it should be, given that, you know, it's going to be around for 75 years in the ground. So we're on year 7 of 20 of a bond that actually amortizes over a period of 50 years. But it's hard to believe that it's been 7 years already since that water main went in the ground. So basically, you know, our forecast, you know, residential sales continue to occur quickly and at asking prices, and we're in the last year of our assessment cycle. We get reassessed every 3 years, and next year is our reassessment. So I would anticipate that we're going to see an increase in property values, and therefore our taxes will move up accordingly, even if we maintain the rate at the same level. There's new residential developments, small ones so far, Westwood condos here or there. He's putting them up. We still have those 6 lots at Melanie Acres. At some point, we're going to see them developed. And I would still say, last year I said Hampstead Overlook was 18 to 24 months out. It's still 18 to 24 months out. So I don't know when that's going to finally get to the finish line. They'll all add to the tax base of the town. Commercial, we've got Ridge Engineering almost ready to go with an 80,000 square foot addition. Dollar General's now completed. North Carroll's been sold, but redevelopment will take time. And then Hans is coming to town, but it's still a couple of years before construction is complete, and we can add that to the assessable base. Expenses, as you heard, are a challenge, but we analyze every single one of them carefully. And just basically overall, we're a reflection of the economy. Our revenues are based on property taxes and income taxes. So right now we're good, but there's definitely some clouds on the horizon. And but when you look at our budget, we're, you know, I think we're in pretty good shape, and we're, you know, able to cover these expenses and make sure we are able to retain our key employees as well. The capital plan next year. Thank goodness for the ARPA money that came in, the American Rescue Plan. We've already put that to work with the water mains that were all laterals off of Main Street that needed to be replaced, that dated back to 1935 and 1937. So we used that money for that. We're going to use it in the coming year for the water mains. We have some old asbestos cement pipe that we're going to replace from Gill that runs right around to the corner here on South Carroll Street, and we'll get that done. we're talking, we're able to do some generational improvements here, which should put our water system in very good, sound footing on hopefully the long term. It never fails to amaze me at how expensive it is to run a water system. One of the biggest expenses we're going to have this year, which we'll use ARPA money for too, is the water tower improvements on the north side. We need to totally repaint that water tower. As I indicated last year, it's now 21 years that tower's been in existence, and we paid off the bond last year. So it's a 20-year-old tank. It needs upkeep, and if you don't keep them up, you'll pay the bigger price down in the long run. And then there's relatively minor stuff for additional road repairs on top of what we get from Highway User Fund, and for some maintenance trucks that we're getting, and for the police department, we're getting portable radios. So all in all, we're in good shape. We maintain a reserve of about 25% of what the revenue is between the water system and our general fund, and that comes out to about $1.1 million. And hopefully things continue, and we continue to analyze everything. We had a meeting out here. It's just us, the council, and staff. Occasionally we have somebody come in, but we go over the budget for a good hour and a half, 2 hours, line by line, and I appreciate everybody chiming in and making their notes and the helpful comments that y'all make. And as a result, I think our budget is very sound and puts us in a good place. So I went on for 15 minutes, and I apologize, but it's important to put that out there, what we've got. Do we have any questions on any of the ordinances or the budget? Okay, seeing none, we'll close the public hearing, and we'll go on to the regular council meeting. So we'll start with the opening prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance. Please rise. Dear Lord, we submit ourselves to you and your servants and the servants of the people of Hampstead who place their trust in us. Please allow every word that is spoken and every action taken to be in the best interest of Hampstead, and for everyone gathered here tonight to be a stabilizing influence in these unsettled times. O Lord, bless this meeting and our town. Amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag, the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Tammi, roll.
Mayor Nevin.
Here.
Councilwoman Barrett. Here. Councilwoman Painter. Here. Councilman Thomas.
Here.
Councilman Unglesbee.
Here.
Councilman Zolman.
Here.
Approvals to the public hearing on May 10th and the council meeting on May 10th.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you. Tammi, when you're ready on the town manager's staff report.
Well, as the mayor was discussing, we still have our commercial and residential projects continue to move forward. We are currently working on several different site plans and business prospects. The grading-only site plan for the old North Carroll High School property, the field complex, is in county stormwater review. All county reviews need to be approved before they seek approval from the Town Planning and Zoning Commission. Hans intends to submit their concept plan of their new facility in the North Carroll Business Park to our Planning and Zoning Commission at this month's meeting. But as the mayor stated, there's still at least 18 months of approval before, well, it'd probably take about 2 years because you have to do the public works agreement and everything else. The owner of the Dunkin' Donuts at 822 South Main Street plans to submit their renovation site plan to the county this week. The plan includes interior and exterior renovations, and an additional lane approaching the ordering kiosk, which would allow 5 more cars to stack onto the parking lot. So we're hoping that'll take care of the...
Have you seen the plan?
Yes.
Okay.
It looks like it would work. Plus, they talked to State Highway. So within our finance department, we continue working on the implementation of our new software systems, which I know it seems like we've been doing this forever. But the payroll system is still trying to correct our employee leave balances in our payroll system. So it seems like everything's working except working on the employee leave balances. Christina and Jim attended training for the permitting and code enforcement module of our new financial system this week. Jim was actually pretty excited because he'll be able to take pictures with his cell phone, download it immediately to the system, and he can type in the issues and it'll put it into a letter for him. The implementation of our utilities module for our water billing has been postponed from July 1st to September 1st due to staffing shortages in their training department. Cheryl worked with the auditor as he was on site May 23rd and 24th for interim testing to begin preparation of our 2022 financial statements. For human resources, we have open enrollment for employees' health benefits, including our new vision program, which ends tomorrow. So I encourage all of our employees to contact Judy about their enrollment status. Our new Public Works employee, Joey, how do you say that, Kevin? Orvich, begins his town employment on Monday, June 13th. Joey lives in Hampstead and worked on the construction of our new Main Street as a C.J. Miller employee. Hampstead Merchants Association walking tour of the downtown Main Street area was well attended. We visited many businesses and learned a bit of history about some of the Main Street properties. Our welcome signs, so the staff were meeting with Strickler Signs tomorrow to discuss the new welcome signs. We will have a better understanding of the process after the meeting. And as the mayor also was discussing the delay in materials for our water project, there's a delay in the shipping of materials for the asbestos pipe removal and replacement project. The contractor is hoping to have enough materials to complete one road by the end of July. He wants to make sure he can complete at least one road at a time. So I don't.
This is ductile iron.
Yes. So, staff also met with the county staff from the Emergency Management Division of the Department of Public Safety to discuss the update of the county's hazard mitigation plan. We also met with our new county planning liaison, Andrew Gray, to discuss completing our comprehensive plan update. Hampstead is eligible for our parks. Hampstead's eligible for program open space this year, and Judy submitted an application for an additional playground equipment, including swings at the Sugar Maple Park. So we could possibly receive up to funding for $138,687. So
Good to see that swings are back in the budget.
Yes.
They were viewed negatively for a while, God forbid.
Well, they've redone them all.
Good. All right, oversights. We'll go with Diane first.
Right, opening day for the farmers market was held on Saturday, June 4th, and it was a fantastic day. The weather was perfect, and the customers were happy to be back supporting the returning vendors and getting acquainted with the new vendors. A ribbon cutting ceremony was held at 9 a.m. Ron Schroers, Blue Ocean's property manager at Panther Performance Center, did the honors. About 1,500 customers attended throughout the morning, and several vendors sold out of everything or came very close to doing so they were very happy they didn't have to lug a lot of merchandise home. In other big news, market manager Keith Johnson has decided to stay on board for another year after all. He's not ready to retire yet, and I quote, "because I love it so much." Managing the market is a year-round commitment. Keith spends lots of time during the off-season in contact with current and prospective vendors, the property managers at Panther Performance Center, and the sponsors and advertisers. He asked all of the advisory team members if we would like for him to stay another year, and he received a unanimous favorable response. So we are happy to have him continue to lead the team through the 2023 season.
We'll see what he says in September.
Well, he's committed.
I know
so-
he's committed. He's a great guy. He's doing
But we
great.
certainly thank him for all of his work.
Yep.
It's a lot of work.
Wayne?
The Hampstead train station is open. This past weekend, however, we spent our time at the Hampstead School Alumni Dinner. We housed the pictures for the old school, so we take those to the dinner. It was well attended. The mayor will probably have more to say about that. Music in the Park is going to start on June 25th. Hopefully, we're going to have a nice ribbon cutting on June 25th. Music's going to be music by Just Us. That's a local band. And then on July 9th, we have Best Regards Band. July 23rd, $20 Profit. August 13th, Middle Sister. August 27th, Bootleg. September 10th says TBA. I wanted to put, something a little different there, but I was told I better not. And then September 24th is Hickory Wind. For the 10th, we're trying to get a band called Blue Moon Big Band. I found out about it through a local guitar lessons on Main Street. And the band usually charges $1,200 an hour, but they're going to give us a discount to $1,000 an hour. So I'm looking for a someone out there that would like to be the sponsor of that night of music, So, tonight's music brought to you by, and if you go out online and listen to them, they're really good. So,
They all local?
yes, Town Council.
Okay,
Yeah, that's local enough.
local enough.
What are they called?
Blue Moon Big Band, and they, Glenn Miller type band. I think it'll be the bomb. So hopefully we can do that. The Tree Commission is going to meet later this month and start getting our act together for the fall, and also plan our updates to the current plantings that we have, getting some of the protective cones off the trees, and doing a final count of the trees that have survived at North Carroll Farms 4, so that we can get that forest conservation contract done. I've got the ARS standing by, so we're in good shape.
All right, good. Deb?
The Planning and Zoning Commission met on Wednesday, May 25th, and approved one sign for Rocco's Market and Deli at 1301 North Main, which really looks incredible. The signs kind of pop with the colors, with the gray on the back of the building. Also approved some exterior structure changes to 1506 North Main. They currently have a peeling white paint on their brick, and they're switching it over to a gray siding with black shutters. So that'll be a huge improvement on Main Street. And as Tammi had stated, Andrew Gray met with us as the Carroll County Department of Planning Update Liaison. And Diane and I had the pleasure of judging the first annual BMX bike show
Thank you.
on Sunday. It was very interesting. Like, it was cool to see. Tons of, how many bikes do you think? Like 100? 50?
75?
Something like that. So it was really cool to see the old bikes from the
Well, I couldn't quite, was it
70s.
just like a showing of the bikes, were they
The bikes were just like lined up.
like a car show?
Yeah.
So they weren't doing jumps and tricks.
No,
No.
but that would be a great idea. But no, a lot of people had some interesting stuff to say about the bikes, and Hampstead Police were there as well. We had them assist with the judging too, so it was fun.
Good. I just remember my idea of decorating a bike was putting baseball cards in the
Yes,
in the spokes. And, yeah.
yeah.
Probably ruined a fortune of baseball cards had I been smarter about it.
Just want to say hats off to police and Public Works for the successful Hampstead Day. I'm sure you'll touch on Hampstead Day a little bit. Lions Club, of course, and everybody that helped with that, but I thought it was fantastic. Chief Sites Park, the Memorial Park Walking Trail Replacement Project. Right now, we are waiting on final confirmation for the project. Start date from the White Pine Paving, correct? However, we anticipate the project should be completed by June 15th, as per the bid proposal. War Memorial Park. It's been a slight delay. We had some problems with some of the parts. The brackets weren't made properly, and they had to wait for those, so that cut us back about a week. But the War Memorial project for the bandstand, concrete pad, benches, and land restoration should be completed by Friday, June 24th, the day before the ribbon cutting. The retaining wall that we'd like to build and some electrical hookups will be done at a future date. And Kevin stated that there will be electricity available for music in the park, utilizing the current electric hookups.
Will the two of you be working on the ribbon cutting, or do we need to do something on our end?
Yeah, we'll work on it.
Okay, just let me know.
We'll
if
even
we
buy the
need-
ribbon.
Just let me know.
We probably ought to do a PR thing for Northern
Yes, I
News.
agree.
Yeah, definitely a press release. Okay.
Hopefully we won't be sinking in wet cement.
Hopefully not.
Maybe a little mud, but hopefully not so.
Pen, water.
Interesting.
But everybody come out to music in the park that night, so very important.
All right, for water in May this year, we had an average water usage of 339,000 gallons per day. So far this month, it's 381,000 gallons per day. Total rainfall in May was 5.74 inches, and there wasn't any rain until today for June. So
Did I hear 381
381.
people filling pools?
Because of how early the council meeting falls this month, people are filling their pools, so the average is skewed right now.
I was gonna say it's
All right.
Crazy.
It's a little higher than norm, but
42,000 higher than normal.
yeah.
Yes.
All right.
Oh, and I forgot one thing on my staff report. We're having a follow-up meeting with, about Hampstead Day tomorrow. So if anybody has any follow-up that they, suggestions they would like for the Lions Club, just let us know and we'll let them know tomorrow.
Perfect. Chief Snyder?
There we go. Evening, everyone. During the month of May, with reference to traffic safety, we investigated 11 traffic accidents. 3 were reportable, 8 were minor property damage only. 2 took place at the 482 Circle. Speed signs were out at 7 locations for a total of 65 days of display. With reference to traffic enforcement, we conducted 47 selective enforcements over 23 and a half hours. 6 citations and 22 warnings were issued during that activity. Overall traffic enforcement included 71 citations and 106 warnings. Patrol checks were conducted, 382, property checks were made of businesses and schools. With reference to criminal activity, we investigated 3 thefts, 1 assault of the 2nd degree, which was domestic related, 1 assault of the 2nd degree, which involved mutual combatants, 1 theft from an unlocked vehicle in the Roberts Field area, 4 DUIs, and 1 theft of scrap metal. Arrests included 4 DUIs, 2 adults with open warrants, 1 adult for shoplifting, and 2 adults for traffic offenses. Training included 11 hours of topics including managing off-duty work, controlling the situation, electric and fire safety, body-worn camera updates, effective testimony in courtroom, and cultural awareness and diversity. Community events included, we attended the annual Officers Memorial down at the Municipal Police and Correctional Training Commission in Sykesville. We also participated in the 8th annual Overdose Vigil that's hosted by the State's Attorney's Office. I participated as part of the Pipe to Side team with the Rape Crisis Center Walk a Mile in Her Shoes benefit. We also participated, obviously, as Councilman Unglesbee mentioned, on Hampstead Day, as well as the American Legion Memorial Day service on Memorial Day. And that's police report.
I've gotten several texts and comments noticing your visibility since the tragic shooting in Texas at our schools, and that's been very much appreciated.
I'll pass it along. Appreciate it.
Any other questions? Okay, thanks. So my comments related to the happenings around town. May is always an extremely busy month, as is the first weekend in June. I'll start with the most important day, which was Memorial Day. It was great to see everybody back in person after a 2-year hiatus, and thanks to former Mayor Lou Kaiser for the sound system, and thanks to the police department for shutting down Main Street. It was a totally different type of service when no traffic's coming along behind you, and made it all that much more solemn and recognizing Memorial Day as it should. Hampstead Day, Dave Capel and his team did a great job of organizing that, and Chief and Kevin, thank you for your contributions too, with making sure the road was shut down and there weren't any issues related to safety. Everybody who attended, it was a great day. A little warm, but a lot better than last year with 50 degrees and sideways rain. So I'll take that any day of the week. And I think our town showed very well, and several thousand people enjoyed Main Street that day, so it was great to see. The farmers market kicked off as Diane mentioned, and that was another great day. And I think that we undercounted, because it was a ton of people there. It's kind of hard to figure out who's coming from what angle, but maybe more than one clicker. But it was very well attended, and even by 10 o'clock when I left, people were starting to run out of stuff. So that's always great for our vendors. And then Wayne and I went and did the Hampstead School reunion. They haven't been able to meet for the last 2 years, and they met over at Friendly Farms, and they, was almost 100 people there. They missed their 100-year anniversary last year, so this was their 101st anniversary. The first graduating class was 1920. And they all sit in groups by their classes, and it's just, there's some real Hampstead people there, some who've moved, some who are still here, and it's just great to walk around and talk to everybody. And Wayne, you do a great job of communicating with those folks, and the amount of history there. They give him all the yearbooks, So here's our timekeeper, if you will, our historian, because they're very proud of Hampstead, and we're proud of them. I tell them that they laid the foundation for this town and what it is today. And it's just great that they come back every single year, and it means a lot to them that they came from Hampstead. So those are my comments. I don't think there's any unfinished business on the new business side. So town scholarships were issued. I went to the Manchester Valley Awards ceremony, and all 4 of our graduates are currently in Ocean City, which is the rite of passage, it seems, right? I remember back to the day. And we were able to give out 4 this year. We had an extra one to give because there was a general donation, very generous donation by a town resident who wishes to remain anonymous, who provided a $1,000 scholarship. And everybody knows with the cost of college, every dollar counts. I thought we had a great applicant pool, and we just don't give them the money. They've got to show they got a GPA, they got a couple letters of recommendation. They have to provide a very professional, well-typed essay on a topic of our choice, which I'll give you in a minute. And they've got to show community involvement, the number of hours. So there's a little bit to it. And in the essay this year, and I liked it, and we'll continue to use it. Challenges faced by your municipal government. Explain how you would address the challenges if you were the mayor or a council member, and how you would disseminate your decision to address the challenges to the citizens of your municipality. And we had 4 winners. Our first scholarship recipient, who also won a Carroll County Maryland Municipal League scholarship, was Juliana Dickey. She's going to go to Stevenson University, and she's majoring in nursing. And she had a very well timed essay related to focus on crime and public safety for the town of Hampstead. Even though we're one of the safest communities, she didn't want us to let down our efforts. Our second recipient was Jacob Lenoichin. He's going to be attending University of Delaware, majoring in applied mathematics and chemistry. So that, nursing and then applied mathematics and chemistry. And he spoke about small town communities and revitalizing our town post-coronavirus pandemic, and how by providing our opportunities, we provide a sense of familiarity in what attracts businesses to settle in and people to live in small towns like Hampstead, Maryland. I thought it was a very good essay. Our third recipient was Juliana Lynott. She's going to be attending your college, majoring in radiology.
Yes.
Radiography is what it says here, but I think it's radiology. And she wanted to stress the importance of communication to town residents when large projects are under construction, and how it may affect travel and emergency services, basically lessons learned from Main Street. So these high school graduates clearly paying attention to what's going on in our town. And our fourth recipient was Julia Walsh. She's going to go to the Maryland Institute College of Art, majoring in illustration, art and design. So everything from science and nursing to art and design here. And her essay shared the importance of a town providing resources to local residents who may have a desire to open a small business, and how to make them successful. So I thought it was a great candidate pool, and really proud to be able to stand up there and normally provide 3, but with our benefactor providing 4, and we thank her very much for doing that. So, and hopefully, it's been neat to see, because I've been at this long enough where now, some of these people that we provided scholarships to back in the day, they're gainfully employed, they're resettled in Hampstead, they got 2 or 3 kids, and they're doing really well. So we hope that these 4 people are on the same track. So those were the scholarship presentations. So then the next piece of business we have is the reappointment of Cole Brown to the Town of Hampstead Ethics Commission for a term of 3 years. Cole's served us for a number of years on the commission, and we'd like to reappoint him.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Mr. Brown, you know how to do this.
Mayor, do you have a blue pen?
Yep.
Is that a blue one?
What, you didn't bring a blue pen again?
Oh, I just realized I didn't bring a blue pen.
Why do we keep her?
I, Coleman Brown, do swear or affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States.
I, Coleman Brown, do swear and affirm I will support the Constitution of the United States.
And that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the state of Maryland.
I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the state of Maryland.
Support the Constitution and laws thereof.
Support the Constitution and laws thereof.
And that I will, to the best of my skill and judgment,
And that I will, to the best of my skill and judgment,
diligently and faithfully,
diligently and faithfully,
without partiality or prejudice,
without partiality and prejudice,
execute the office as a member of the Ethics Commission of the town of Hampstead,
execute the office as a member of the Ethics Commission of the town of Hampstead,
according to the Constitution and laws of the state.
according to the Constitution and laws of the state.
Welcome back aboard.
Thanks, sir. Appreciate it.
You gotta sign it first, then we'll let Kev take a picture.
Ready to go.
Another left-handed person.
Yeah, and my right mine. We got a lot of them.
Let her sign that one.
Is that gonna be his?
Yeah, that'll be his.
Picture I got on the card. God, it's ugly.
There you go. That is yours. Why can't I sign it?
Thanks again, buddy.
When you go to events and stuff, you have a lantern you put around your neck, like in the old meetings and stuff.
It's always great when we have people continuing to volunteer to serve on these commissions. All right, there's no other new business, but under ordinances and resolutions, we have to do the budget work. So adoption of ordinance 542, which is an ordinance for the levy of taxes for the fiscal year 2023.
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion?
Roll call.
Councilwoman Barrett,
Yes.
Councilwoman Painter,
Yes.
Councilman Thomas,
Yes.
Councilman Unglesbee,
Yes.
Councilman Zolman.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And then adoption of ordinance 543, which is an ordinance to adopt the annual budget of the town of Hampstead for the period July 1, 2022 to June 30th, 2023.
So moved.
Second.
The race. Any discussion? You want a roll call on this, or all those in favor?
Sure, let's do all of this favor.
Okay.
Okay. Councilwoman Barrett,
Yes.
Councilwoman Painter,
Yes.
Councilman Thomas,
Yes.
Councilman Unglesbee,
Yes.
Councilman Zolman.
Yes.
There we go, and our budget's adopted. And then finally, to make it work, our water rate levels staying the same, adoption of resolution 2022-03.
So moved.
Second.
All right, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Good. Now we got into public comment. Mr. Mitchell, I hear you got something.
I do have something. Can I take up?
Yes, please.
Sure. Just for the record, we know who you are, but state your name and address.
I'll do that.
Is the light on, is this microphone still on?
Kev, you want to check?
I don't know, Kevin, see it? Okay.
Thank you.
For those who don't know me, my name's Dennis Mitchell. I live at 1329 North Main Street, along with my wife Henrietta. We've lived at that property, I guess, for 8 or 10 years, but we've been involved with that property since, with her grandparents, probably back for 50 to 70 years. With me tonight are some residents of Main Street and residents of Hillcrest. And an issue has come before us regarding the fire department. And I'm not sure if you're aware of the circumstances of things that have taken place regarding that. Some time back, the fire department had an opening where they had the groundbreaking for the new firehouse to be constructed. And someone asked me to attend. I had appointments that evening and couldn't go over. But several days later, someone had said to me, I said, I guess they temporarily had to block the area off there so that we could have the groundbreaking and dig up the ground. And I was sort of informed of the fact that I better look into this a little more. It may be something other than I understand. And with that comment, I did take a look into it. And what I found was something was quite disturbing. And the reason I'm talking to you tonight is the fact is, I understand that somewhere along the line, this group adopted and annexed the alley that fits behind my property that borders on Hillcrest Street. Am I correct in that?
We
Okay.
did approve the annexation of the additional
Okay,
land for.
let me then pick it up from there. Sometime back in 2018, unbeknownst to me, and according to all my neighbors, none of us were aware that something was taking place regarding the alley. And what happened is someone from the fire department apparently approached the county and said, we maintain the alley and we would like to take it over. And the county, I'm assuming, looked into it, and based on their appearances of what took place, they didn't own the alley, had no title to it. They didn't pay taxes on it. They didn't maintain it. And why they did this, I don't understand, and I guess this has to be addressed to the county attorney, is that they issued a quitclaim deed. Does everybody know what a quitclaim deed is?
Grants
Well,
them.
quitclaim deed basically is a deed that says, I don't know if I have any interest in this property or not, but if I have any interest, I'll give it to you and you look into it and see what needs to be done to clear a title or take care of a title. Quitclaim deed is something basically we do in an estate. When somebody dies and the kids inherit the property, I make out a deed for them, they own the property, but they only have the rights that the father had. If he had a bad title, they got a bad title. So based on that title, no guarantees were given, no title search was done, and they took this deed, this quitclaim deed, to an attorney in Mount Airy and asked him to do a consolidated deed to put the two properties they own along with the alley in one deed. And the irony of that whole thing was, the attorney said clearly on this document, I didn't do a title search. I just was asked to put this together. Based on this, and nothing else I can find in the land records, fire department doesn't own the alley. That alley was created in 1925 by the Kelball family that owned all that property back there. And when they set a plot up, they created at the back end of the property adjoining my property and the Hillcrest people, a 16-foot wide alley that ran from Upper Beckysville Road all the way to Hillcrest for ingress and egress of all the people and for the general public. This gentleman here in the black shirt last year bought this property in Hillcrest directly behind me. He was told before he settled, you have the use of this alley. It's a part of that. And it's a part of his description in his property. I'll just read this one section to you. It gives the legal description, and then it says, also the privileges of using Hillcrest Avenue, Hillcrest Street, and the 16-foot alley mentioned in the above lot in common with the general public. That alley is used for the people. This alley is nearly 100 years old. I've used this thing myself for over 30 years. I know people before me have used it, and in fact, I talked to a gentleman who most of you may know in here, Les Wheeler. He said his father used to ride up that alley every year to make sure it stayed open, that nobody tried to claim it. We need that alley in order to get in and out of our property. We have to understand that the houses along Main Street, a part of my property is logged, 1870. We all have use in common driveways. You can't bring a big truck up through there. When you approve my addition to the property, all that equipment come in through that alley. It's the only way I could get it in. I could never got up there. I could never did the addition. You would never had a higher tax bill from me because of that. That is what we need that for. The gentleman next to me has a 35-foot RV in the back of his house. He can't get it out of Main Street. He has to bring it in through that alley. But the county, when they did that, really set a monster in place, because without them owning that alley, they now have taken over the alley as if they own it. They now have dug out and they've fenced in the area all the way back to the property lines of the other people. They just dug out the blacktop from Upper Beckysville Road coming in. We do not have access to get out of there. And since the town has now annexed that property, for what reason, I have no idea. There's no tax on it. What would you use it for? What was the purpose of annexing that property? The only thing I can think that you annexed it for is now you want to finish our alley, so we have a nice finish alley like the west side of Main Street, and up behind the church and the Lutheran church, it's all finished. We can have the same thing they have. I'm assuming that's the only reason the town did that. Unless someone can tell me another reason they did that, I have no idea. We need the fire department to get out of that alley put it back so the people who are in there can use that. It is tying everything up in there. And I don't know, when you annexed, did you realize they didn't own this property? I mean, did the town understand that? They had a quitclaim deed that meant absolutely nothing?
Apparently, we didn't.
Well,
So this alley goes from Upper Beckleyville all the way to Hillcrest?
Yes.
Behind the old Sunset?
yes, and if you see, there's an open spot now. In one little section there, trees have grown in. And they can be cut out of there, the road actually finished across there. We can't get out of the
Isn't
property.
isn't it blocked where the old Sunset was?
Yeah,
And
it's open behind
and
there.
Seaford's property?
It's open back on behind that. The section, to the right of my property, there's a little bit of woods where some trees have grown. That's the only section. Other than that, it's all open.
Okay. So here we got so granted, sounds like there's an issue, right?
It is an issue.
Okay. We have a fire department that needs to stay on Main Street and expand and needs to provide service to the town and surrounding community.
Absolutely.
Okay. So we can't kill a project. We got to find a way to work together, right?
Well, we don't want to do away with that 16-foot alley.
Well, I don't think they intend to.
Yes, they do.
Well,
No uncertain.
Yes, they do. They told us that.
I'm
They're
hearing,
building in the alley.
all right, so I'm hearing otherwise. And so maybe it's a thing where, Jim Dwyer's pretty reasonable.
Jim was going to get back to me. He never did. He called an attorney. The attorney called me and said, they don't own the alley. We're going to try to work something out with you, and never got back to me.
All right, well, I know Jim, I know you.
I've talked to him a number of times. Nothing's happened. It's going on for 6 weeks now. The
Well-
alley's completely blocked off.
Well, if it's blocked off, I think it's only going to be not forever.
It's going to be blocked off for over a year.
And I would hope they would make reasonable accommodation for you to provide access for what you need in the interim time.
It's not going to happen. No. The alley has to be open. They don't own it. They can't take possession of something they don't own.
Well, they're not necessarily taking possession,
They are.
but they're, all right, well, Dennis, I'm hearing different. So I'll gladly sit down with you on one side and Jim on the other, and we'll work it out.
Jim has contacted an attorney, so I can't talk to Jim anymore. And the attorney says they're going to proceed with what they want to do, and maybe they'll try to find a way to give me access. It's not only me, it's all the people that live along there. This is a general alley.
I hear you.
It belongs to the Kellball family, no one else.
Okay.
Sounds oddly familiar.
So, and this is something we don't want to go on. If he wants to get that fifth wheel out, he can't get it out of there.
Well, we would hopefully we'll get it out of there, and we'll find a place for it to be parked in
It's
the
torn
interim.
up. The alley is torn up now. They've taken the blacktop out today. They tore it all out. You can't even get out of Upper Beckysville Road.
Okay.
So,
I mean, if it doesn't resolve here, it's going to go to the next level. That's what's going to happen, I'm going to tell you.
What's the next level?
The next level is maybe litigation, if that's what comes to that.
Well, hopefully, I mean, we're all, you've lived next door to them for how many years?
Listen, I let the fire department use my property for carnivals.
I'm aware.
I
I
let
parked
them use
there.
my property for parking. It wasn't until 2018, when all this stuff started, that a run-in developed, when they ran the water off of my property and ruined it and wouldn't come in to help straighten it out. That was the end for me with them. That ended.
Okay. So, can we,
So I'm looking to the town because you annexed it. You take it in for whatever reason you've taken this property in, I don't know.
well, we rely on certain, obviously on any annexation, when a lawyer represents that an annexation is proper, we have, we assume
Well,
the attorneys know what they're talking about and the annexation is proper,
Unless
right?
there's a deed I haven't seen, these are the only two deeds I found of record.
Okay,
That's it.
all right.
Nothing else. And as I said, in talking to the attorney for the fire department, he said to me, they don't own the property.
Who's the attorney for the fire
Clark
department?
Schaefer.
Oh,
They don't own the property. Clark told me that.
okay. And
So they don't,
you're
they're
an-
going to try to accommodate you. I said, I don't want to be accommodated. I want you to get out of the alley.
Okay, well,
That's what I want.
but we need the fire department to finish the project, right?
But they don't need to be in the alley to do that. They build on their own property. They designed this thing to be, I'm not even sure if their permits are going to hold up. If they got permits building in the property they don't own, it's going to affect the permits. I guarantee you that.
Okay.
I look at this as two different things. One is, who owns the alley? If the
Keeball
alley-
family.
If the alley's like, I'm infinitely familiar with alleys that's being taken away. But if we can annex in the property that's the alley, and we relied on somebody's word that they owned it when they asked to annex it, okay? So de-annexing, it's one thing. But if there's a plan that the fire department has to build and use that part of use part of the alley as part of their construction, that's a different issue that's,
That's what I was told when I met.
yeah, so that's between the property owners and the fire department. Us annexing the alley has nothing to do with the construction unless our Planning and Zoning Commission relied on the fact that they own the alley and approved the plans.
Unless there's a deed I haven't seen the record, then I don't know where it's at.
Yeah, so-
And they've adjusted, I think small corner of a building would have been in the alley. So the fire department has since redlined the plans to move everything out, what would be an alley, and put it back in grass. So that's what they're working with too. But currently with the construction, it is blocked off temporarily.
They told me it's gonna be, when I talked to them some time ago, they said it's gonna be every year.
Can they open up half of it, 8 feet of it, so just like transportation can go through?
But I think that's something that is between
if you're
the two
gonna-
property owners.
I said to.
I don't have to put myself in the middle,
I-
but if you want to sit down, Jim on one side, you on the other, or reps of the fire department and you on the other, and we can try to get this resolved.
You know, and it's also the other all the people in Hillcrest, some on here tonight, they're all upset about this. They're very upset about
Well,
this.
every group has a spokesman. So you're standing there.
Well, as I said, I wouldn't be here tonight if I thought you had annexed the property, but I thought the town brought themselves into the issue.
No. Just because we annex it
Well,
doesn't mean we
you-
own it,
That,
right?
I understand.
We may have mistakenly annexed it because we thought the property owner was asking for
Well,
it to
when
be
the
annexed.
annexation became before us, it was already a consolidated parcel.
Which
So-
it really shouldn't be because they don't own the property. You can't consolidate a tax bill you don't have property ownership
But that's
of.
what was presented to us, was a
I understand.
consolidated parcel.
Let's say, this thing was kind of in the dark because I'm friendly with a lot of people in the fire department. And there's been people coming to me from the fire department and said, Dennis, we had no idea this was all going on in 2018. We knew nothing about this. It was a very small group of people handling this whole transaction. That's what I was told from people within the organization.
That's not unusual,
Well,
right? You don't have 150 people draw up a
it's
plan.
not, when it involves.
Just like you don't have 150 people sitting
No,
here.
but when it involves this, you would think the other guys in there know where the building's gonna be located.
Not really. How many people zoned out when I was talking about the budget?
Okay, like I said, you'll have to decide where you want to be at this point as far as concerned. I just need to present this to you so you understand what our position are. And the people who live in the town, these are all town people.
Yep.
We're not outside. We live here in Hampstead. We're property owners. We're not renters. We live right here. You know, we support the town.
So that's the north access, isn't there? Can't there be a southern cut through in the meantime?
Well, the problem is that if you look when the kids play ball with the Lions Club, nobody goes down to the Sunset to go out. They go across Hillcrest like I do. They come out the alley and go over to the Fairmount in order to get to the traffic light, to get out with traffic. That's why we use a lot of that, to get out of there. We can't get out of Main Street.
Well, you can now.
You say that.
I do it every day.
Well, yeah. But if you're hauling something or bringing something in, you can't bring it in. I mean, if anybody wanted to do something along there, the people, young lady here sitting here, they just moved in. They brought their moving van in through the alley. They couldn't get up their driveway. They
Gotcha.
couldn't get in to unload their furniture.
All right. Well, we're here to help, and like I said, you know,
We'll see what happens in the next 2 weeks,
okay.
okay?
Yes,
Thanks
sir.
for your time.
You're welcome. Thank you. And thanks to the group for coming in and letting us know about it. Any further public comment? Take a motion to adjourn.
Just a second.
But,
We need to go into closed session to discuss a legal matter.
not that I'm aware of.
Okay. Motion to adjourn.
Second.
In a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you. Thank you all.